Hey everybody, Dr. Rob here. Facebook Live, obviously, Friday. Another day, another dollar, as they say. Very excited to share some really good information. A lot of people asking questions, sending them in. So I encourage you to please fill in the comment section, ask the question as we go along. Whatever it is. If it could be from exercise to the home, what brand of water that you like, what's a new hot topic, just in health other than COVID-19, anything that you like. We like to keep this Facebook Live interactive. A lot of people, again, emailing me on things to talk about. So one of the things that people wanted me to talk about was the ACE2 receptors. So we're going to go over that in a minute. Just want to tell you from yesterday to today, a few more states did the stay at home, as you know. Seems that the social distancing is going to work. It will help as long as everybody adheres to it. There'll be some new information. They're doing a study on distancing now. Distancing also with just pure sputum and talking and walking. So we'll be talking about that on Monday as that literature comes to pass, as they say. Let's talk about the ACE2 receptors. They are receptor sites that are in your lungs. They're also receptor sites that are in your gut, kidney, and liver. The reason that they talk about them so much now is it is a insertion point for these spiked proteins. These spiked proteins have these three spikes that COVID-19 has. They go right into the surface, into the lung, and they're actually about 10 times stickier. They call it a very sticky virus, stickier to the lung epithelial cells. Once they stick, they enter and they cause a cascade. One little side note of interest, actually, it's kind of sexy, if you will, if I could use that term. There's something called Furion enzymes inside the lung. These Furion enzymes are extraordinarily receptive. They actually cleave to this particular virus. Other viruses haven't had this advantage. So that is one of the reasons that we're getting this cascade towards what we call this cytokine storm. So really, ACE2 receptors are on the top. Your body responds, your body's innate immune system responds to these viruses that are attaching to the ACE2 receptor sites. Your innate immune system is your natural killer cells. We talked about a little of that yesterday. In that, your natural killer cells are your lead. They are your captain of the ship of your innate immune system. Now, we've talked about the innate immune system also. The innate immune system speaks to the idea of our own body's immune system that we've had since day one to really try and modulate what's going on. It goes through this whole cascade, stimulating this pathway called the NLRP3 inflammasome. This inflammasome pathway is stimulated. It's stimulated to a high level, releasing something called cytokines. Within cytokines, there are certain interleukins, pro-inflammatory for the most part, interleukin 1 beta and interleukin 18. They're released, and it's called a cytokine storm. Too many cytokines, too much attack, posing the problem. One of the things, again, with COVID-19 that's so interesting is that its ability to attack multiple tissues and multiple organs simultaneously. And that's why it's so damaging. People in the news, I'm in New York, CNN, our governor is actually Andrew Cuomo, his brother Chris Cuomo, we mentioned it yesterday. He's got a pretty bad case of it. He said he's not really feeling good. Chris Cuomo's a pretty healthy 49-year-old guy. He purports to working out. He purports to eating well, and he's having a bit of a tough time. But again, he's on the news every day and he's giving us updates. So it's there, it's happening. This is actually sort of the science that's happening. I want to talk about more of the everyday things. So if people want to ask questions about the cytokine storm, now's the time to ask those questions. What I think works best to help decrease the cytokine storm is to keep the host, you, healthy. Keep your immune system working as best you can. So the things I'm doing at home, I will do a full next week low-level laser. So I've been using a lot of laser. The laser I use is antiviral. No one's making any claims that it's going to kill COVID-19 or anything like that, but it has immune boosting properties. So I'm adding that in. I am trying to exercise, if not every day, virtually every day. I may take one day off from what I call exercise. I may just go for a walk outside, that is exercise. And I'm trying to watch what I eat. As a matter of fact, testing my body fat, I've fortunately seen some changes because I'm home. I'm eating just my wife's foods. Her cooking is outstanding. Best cook in the whole world, bar none. I'll put my money on that. And more so than that, I'm watching my sugar content. Not that I ever thought that I consumed a lot of sugar, but I'm clearly watching my sugar content. Nothing is fried here. Everything is portioned out correctly. We're using mostly organic, really good ingredients. Nothing's better than home cooked. As I've said before, I'm a firm believer that there's going to be the 50-pounder, and that means, I'm using an extreme. Some people are going to lose 50 pounds during this stay home, and others are going to gain. Obviously, that's a bit of an extreme, but I think you guys know what I mean. Yesterday, we covered a little bit about what was going in the stores, what they were getting, which was the packaged processed foods. Not going to really be good to ward off the cytokine storm. Sugars, processed food, real big problems. Once again, what we want to do is we want to eat good quality foods that are rich in green vegetables and fruits, to allow for biodiversity in your gut. Fruits and vegetables, also having some antioxidants, polyphenols. I think we had a question.
Actually, could you explain the cytokine storm?
That was, sure. So what happens is cytokines are released at the time of attack or inflammation. Our body has its own way of modulating foreigners. Remember, a virus is a pathogen. So they call it a novel virus because we've never seen this mutating virus in our body before. That's why everybody is so susceptible. When it was the seasonal flu, if it wasn't a new strain, we already had either a vaccine or antibodies to it. So now that we're getting attacked, our body has its own defense mechanism. I call them soldiers. I call the soldiers, some are what we call Marines and others are what we call the professor. The professor isolates and understands what's going on and sends the Marines to do the work. So within that, many of them are called cytokines. So the cytokines are needed because our body's not able to handle the pathogen, so it's sending more and more soldiers, more and more Marines to the area to bang them up and to hopefully get rid of it. The problem is so many cytokines increases this pro-inflammatory status, and our pro-inflammatory status is elevated, and that's actually very damaging or deleterious to our own health while this pathogen is replicating. Remember, a virus loves a host. It's truly not alive. It's either activated or inactivated. Inactivated, it's dormant. Kind of like a good example of dormant is chickenpox. Most of us have it. I've had it. And it comes out and it gives its ugly head in shingles. So viruses like hosts, and the human body is the perfect host for it. Just touched my face, but it was more than 5 minutes, doing a little bit better. It'd be hard to do a Facebook Live with the mask. So that cytokine storm just think of a storm, a rainstorm of droplets. Think of the droplets as cytokine, and we're so inflammatory. Now, clearly, the reason that people have these comorbidities or a problem is they probably are inflamed. So their inflammation level is elevated, and then more cytokines come in, and that inflammation couples with the pathogen. You're not able to overcome that, and you have a really, really bad flu or worse.
So, Mike and Libby, is there a rule of thumb for taking L-glutathione in mg per pounds in body weight?
Oh, L-glutathione. So I'm a glutathione guy, and it's really funny when it comes to dosages. Sometimes off the top of my head, I can't remember. The one I use is 5 pumps. So I will actually put down the dosage for everybody. I get L-glutathione. If anybody's interested, I'll add a link. L-glutathione. I use Nutridyne for my liposomal glutathione. I use the liposomal because it's a nanotechnology, and I'll give you the exact dosage and everything like that. The reason we use glutathione, master antioxidant, great question. Why not use that for cytokine storm? Quercetin, pro-resolving mediators, low-level laser, fish oils, curcumin or turmeric. Actually, some good literature on curcumin. You have your essential vitamin D, vitamin A, and vitamin C. I think we shared an article yesterday about vitamin C being used in the New York hospital. In addition, I think his name is Dr. Tom Furion, and he spoke about, he was the head of the CDC, former head of the CDC, and he said vitamin D should be used for COVID-19. He said it, I'm not saying it. I like vitamin D for overall immune, I like vitamin D because it's got some good literature on upper respiratory, and one of the big ones that most people didn't know about, but it's kind of come to the forefront for the cytokine storm, is melatonin. Nothing replaces taking care of yourself. Nothing replaces. These are called supplements, hence the term supplemental to lifestyle. And there's nothing wrong with chiropractic care now either. I've just found people who are healthier and feel better about themselves respond better to trauma. Nope, we didn't get back on that Cytokine Storm 50. All right, so having said all that, hopefully that cleared some of it up. I got from Oxford COVID-19 Evidence Service, so it's CEBM. It's the Department of Primary Care Health Services. I just printed it out. We can download it and put it on Facebook. Yep.
Creator Chiropractor, can you speak to NRF2 pathways, oxidative stress and inflammation?
NRF2 pathway is without question a critical pathway. It's in phase 2 of detoxification, and the NRF2 is a pathway that glutathione stimulates. And glutathione stimulating that antioxidant pathway is great. Also stimulating nitric oxide, and we found that nitric oxide is a critical element, and oversight on my part, to the cytokine storm. So I love anything that can upregulate the NRF2 pathway. Curcumin, alpha-lipoic acid, or some others of note. Did we get a follow-up? I know we're getting a little delay today, so we're doing the best we can. So I'll go over the coronavirus symptoms. What I have here, and again, I wish I had put it up, is that we have people with severe and non-severe symptoms. Interesting, the number one symptom for those who have coronavirus, and it's a 7% difference. It's 88.4% of people severe have a fever, 81.4%. So it's a 7% difference, not as much as you would think. This was published on March 29th of 2020. However, fever is number one. Cough is within 5 or 6%. Once again, 70% approximately have a cough that have severe symptomology. Fatigue, this is where there's a difference. Fatigue is about 60% and 44% for those who are non-severe. So what you're going to see no matter what is you're going to see a fever and a cough. And I can tell you that those who've had it, who have called me, it's like a whooping cough. It's pretty distinct. It's loud. It's heinous sounding. But the fatigue goes down. Where you really get difficulty in breathing, dyspnea, it's 44% in severe and only like 6% if it's not severe. So when you really want to get nervous, or when the hospitals seem to be asking you to come in, is a difficulty in the breathing. Sputum production is about a 10% difference. Shortness of breath, about a third of the people with severe have shortness of breath. It's only about 12% of those with mild. Big difference in shortness of breath. Myalgia, muscle pain, there's a 13% difference between being severe and not so severe. And a chill, about a quarter of the people who have severe symptoms have a chill. Only about 10% of the people non-severe have chill. And dizziness, headache, sore throat, vomiting, not that common. Diarrhea, interesting, not as common in the one here. And nasal congestion, almost never. So you really don't get a runny nose. We are seeing some things that weren't here that people are talking about. Loss of sense of smell, about a third, kind of makes sense. Loss of sense of smell and taste also implies there's damage to the central nervous system. And that's something that you really want to take care of, because your central nervous system is in your spine and your brain. I thought you had something. Okay, no worries. So again, feel free to ask questions. Give me a shout out. Let me know where you are. Tell me what you're doing for the weekend. What's your favorite weekend recipe? Don't have me just keep pontificating, if you will.
Sheila Powell from Oregon.
Hey, Sheila, I love it. Is that Medford, Oregon, or is it just Oregon?
Central Point.
Central Point. Who else do we have out there? Say hi.
Martina, Paul, Velios.
Paul Velios. Oh my God, Yasu. How you doing, Paul? It's a pleasure to have you. I know where you're from.
Crater chiropractic, ocular issues.
Ocular issues. Yeah, we are doing a webinar tomorrow. We have a really great crowd for a webinar tomorrow. And many of the people, about a third, have ocular issues. So of that third, most of them, if they had an ocular issue, was pretty moderate to severe in that they're getting conjunctivitis, a lot of secretions coming from the eyes. There is some thought that possibly the tears will carry those ocular abnormalities.
Mike and Libby, I've read about uncertainty with reinfection of COVID-19. Have you heard of anything different?
You know, it's funny about the reinfection. They said it's very plausible and possible. One thing I should mention, and we're going to go into great detail next week on it, is that there was the first skin prick antibody test. So what you want is, if you've been exposed, you hope you can make antibodies so your body naturally now, we won't say immune, but has defense mechanisms to ward off most of what the virus causes. Now, there was a first test, KBMO, which I can give you a link, Dr. Rob link, has a blood test that it appears to be FDA cleared. In that, some of my doctors on the front lines, great doctors, have already taken the test and they can tell if you have antibodies. So that's going to be the new jam, without question, that antibody test. And I really want to, maybe I'll take Monday and go over that and in great detail, because I'm getting a lot of information, because again, tomorrow's my webinar. So let's go over that and let's get that to you. They drop ship you, the phlebotomist can come in. The serum is the starting point, the finger spot will be the follow-up.
Jennifer Uzo, she said excellent synopsis. She also mentioned red sclera.
Okay. Jennifer, how are you? It's a pleasure that you're checking in. Continue doing what you're doing, and everybody remember, it's burning. You can't control the virus. You can only control the host. So do some of the things that we mentioned. Who else do we have? We have a quiet day, Friday.
Leslie Rose Values.
Leslie, how are you? Leslie, I am practicing every day my Espanol. I want you to know that. I'm so comfortable and confident. We're going to do a little bilingual thing. How's everybody feeling in the house? Tell Chris I said hello.
Corticosteroids for airway, yes or no?
You know, I don't like to make comments about drugs. Well, I can only tell you what I've read. My license does not like me to talk about them, but it looks like they are using corticosteroids for airways.
Natalie just joined us.
Hello, Natalie. How are you? Tell me who's coming in, because I know I can see a lot of views. I just don't see a lot of people chatting with me.
Yeah, we don't see every single person listed.
Yeah, we don't get them. I'm going to set up my computer next week, so I'll be able to look also at the time, and I won't be using the paper. So if you have any questions, if you have any requests of things to go over, we've been giving a lot of information daily. Don't forget, every weekday, 1 p.m., we're on. We're going to be talking about, obviously COVID-19 and any other health issue. I took you down to my gym one time. We're probably going to take you through what to eat one time, what we got in our kitchen. We're going to talk about the antibody test next week. I think you get your finger to me. Do we have somebody? No? Okay. So just tune in. We're here. And everybody have a great weekend. Eat well. Enjoy. Remember, 1 o'clock every weekday, Eastern Standard Time. We're on Instagram also, and we're also on LinkedIn. It's all Dr. Robert Silverman. So hope to see you soon. Dr. Rob, always yours in health.